There you go. Now that's much better. I don't like that chat part though. Looks like it's working. What's up, Parker? How about I put the chat right here. I want the steering wheel. I want to be able to see that steering wheel. How about like this? There you go. Transition. How about that? I think I like that. I wonder how you can get the chat to where it's like almost transparent, you know, so it doesn't have a box like the way it is right now. I'm on the, well, you probably be like, yeah, well, obviously, but I'm on the 15. What is that? Is that Tower Road? I don't know what exit that is, Parker. Yeah, it is north of Fillmore. Actually, I just got out of Fillmore. I fueled over there, so here we go. I think I like this, man. This thing actually works pretty good. This doggone this Starlink. So yeah, I'm probably gonna mount it permanently and have it and just do a live stream of the drive, man. Just do live stream all day long. Just keep the live stream going on the truck the whole time. Or just do like the truck is just doing live stream the 24/7. I'm gonna mount like 1, 2, whatever cameras and just be able to, you know what I mean, control them remotely or whatever. Look, Parker, don't you just love automatic, man? It's just, this thing is just, you know, it doesn't make me do any kind of work, you know what I mean, to grab gears or whatever. No, that's what I'm trying to provide. You know, if everything is mounted and I'm not touching anything, that is not a violation. How's that a violation? It's just like having your GPS mounted, right? It's the same thing. If everything is mounted, just like how the cops, you know, they have their computers mounted. That prevents them from, you know what I mean, having fixture permanently fixed, right? I think that's what it. I think there's that's part of it, right? If you have a screen, it has to be fixed, and obviously you can't be like, you know what I mean, watching videos or whatever, right? You know, I love an automatic, Parker, but this thing is just not smart enough sometimes. Sometimes I have to put it in, because I'm on downhill right now, right? I got like 25,000 in the box, and I don't like it because when I'm downshifting it, I need to be in manual for it to work the way I want it to work. You know what I mean? So I wish they could program that. I don't know how they would program that, but it just does some weird things, and I don't like how it raises up the RPMs at such a high level, and then it grabs a gear that I really don't like, not at those speeds and that weight or whatever. But overall, other than that, I love the transmission. I love this automatic transmission, man. I don't ever grind no gears in this transmission. So basically, all I gotta do really is change clutch on this transmission. Because you're never grinding no gears, right? Because it's always gonna make sure it selects that gear properly, the way it should be, based on RPM, speed, road speed, or whatever. Yeah, that check engine light is the surge tank. So there's a surge tank level sensor, right? There's a sensor on that surge tank, right? And that is afloat. The sensor is afloat. And the OEM tank is like $500. I'm not paying no $500 for a sensor that's telling me, hey, I don't have a coolant. So I just check it myself. You know what I mean? I look at my gauges, right? I look at my temperature gauge and I look at my oil temperature gauge. That gives me enough information to know that if I'm going to overheat or whatever, right? Or I obviously always look at the under the hood, make sure I got enough coolant on there. I'm always checking the hoses, make sure I have, you know what I mean? They're adequately, in place. If they're worn out, I'm going to change them. You know what I mean? And just preventative maintenance, really. But other than that, like I said, I'm not paying no doggone $500 for a freaking float sensor. Just because the sensor gets stuck. That's the problem. It gets stuck. It's afloat, right? And it doesn't last long. No, I disconnected the sensor. Yeah, it's just disconnected. That's why the light is on. I could probably turn off, the CEL, in the ECM by not checking the coolant level sensor, and not to turn on a CEL because of that, But yeah, I disconnected the sensor. Just disconnected it. I was thinking about. I ran a wire, and it's a little smarter than what they used to be back then. Back then, as long as you put a pin or something, you know what I mean, just complete the loop, that thing will send a signal to the computer and saying, hey, I'm good, but the computer is smart enough to detect how much, ohms that's coming through there, So I guess just finding the right thickness or whatever on how many ohms that thing is supposed to be sending out. Yeah, Parker. It's so pricey, man. It's like it's a bad design. Why couldn't they just stick to the part where it's just an actual sensor that when no liquid is touching it, it turns it on. You know what I mean? Why do you put a float on there? Just put it to where at the level you think is safe, and then just doggone put an actual sensor that it senses it where if the liquid is past that, it turns on. Instead of that doggone float. That float is so bad design. Yeah, Josh, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to put no float, a new one on there, Josh, because of that reason. Because I know it's going to happen again, and I know a lot of people have that same problems, So, but that's the reason why that CEL is on. It's just nothing. It ain't nothing serious. As a matter of fact, the bully dog, right? The it tells me how many codes I have. I only have one code, and I know what that code is. You know, so. Yeah, yeah. It's been on. It's been that engine light, that freaking coolant. I haven't changed it ever since I got the truck. When I first got the truck, that coolant light just kept on doing that. It was so annoying. And it gives you two yellow lights, right? It says check, and then this CL light, right? And then freaking it's just so annoying because it just kept beeping at me. You know, so I said, screw you. I disconnected it. Exactly. It scares the crap out. Yeah. When I get a car wash or a truck wash, right? The water gets in between where the sensor is. I should really put a plastic over it, just so water don't get in there. But when the water gets in between, and then it, sends that signal to the ECM, and it scares me every time after a car wash because it keeps beeping at me. Yeah, you can just disconnect it and roll, man. You're just gonna get a CEL. That's it. It's just gonna be permanently on. What do you look at this view, man? Wouldn't you want to watch this view from your couch? You know what I'm saying? Or from your big old large TV? That's a beautiful view, right? That I am so amazed how that Starlink Mini is, man. That Starlink Mini is just it's just something else, man. It's like I just imagine, like, I need to permanently mount that thing. I think it'll work out really well if I mount that thing permanently. All right, appreciate you, Josh, and yes, Merry Christmas to you, sir. This load, we're heading north, and it's a load out back home, back towards Tucson. Well, the trailer is, but we're going to be able to get home on the 24th. Yeah, by the 24th, before the 24th. As a matter of fact, I got an appointment. I got a VA appointment on the 24th. So I better make it. Man, I don't think I can, Parker. I mean, we could probably do it. You know what I mean? I don't know if you have time, man. It's gonna be late by the time I get there, bro. I don't know what you got plans today, but my plan is to, you know what I mean, this right here, got to drive. Oh yeah, I did call the store owner already, and I asked them, did Swift call you and tell you that, hey, this trailer is gonna be late, it's gonna be a day late, you know? And she's like, yes, they called me. I was like, okay, yeah, and I explained to her what happened, and she's like, yeah, no worries. If you can be here first thing in the morning, that'd be better, you know. So I should be able to make it first thing in the morning and just park over there. She said, we'll knock on your door if you're here, you know, and then we'll pick it up from there. Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you're just tuning in, right, we're this trailer. This is a power only load coming from Tucson. So I was in Vegas, right, when I seen these load. They posted this. They had it posted for Vegas. It's crazy. But anyway, it's a Swift trailer, right? So I was looking for power only loads on a Friday, right? Friday morning, and and also I was looking for flatbed loads. Flatbed is just straight up garbage right now, all across the board on the West Coast. Okay, only West Coast. Anyway, so I was looking for loads, right, and then I saw this power only loads by Swift, and this actually picks up in Tucson. See, if you didn't know, power only load with Swift, okay, are horrible setup. It's just the way it's set up is horrible. I think it could run a lot smoother if they could improve on their empty trailer thing. Okay, so basically the way it works, you have to bring an empty trailer to that location where you're picking up the loaded trailer. Okay, because they have like all of these accounts, right? This is TJ Maxx or Home Goods, right? Anyway, so you have to exchange, you know, a trailer, an empty trailer for that loaded trailer. So I had set up an appointment to go pick up a empty trailer in Phoenix at midnight or early morning Friday, right? Which is 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. She gave me a trailer number, and then boom, I pick it up. So I took an Amazon load from Las Vegas, paying like $2.15 a mile, which is crap, right? Anyway, to Phoenix, so I can go pick up that empty trailer and then bring it to Tucson and exchange it for a loaded one, right? So I was like, okay, cool, works out perfectly. So I get to Phoenix, and man, I drop off the Amazon. I'm looking around. I go this trailer's not there. Okay, and then the guy's like, I don't have any more night transportation trailers here. I was like, okay, cool. I call after hours, right? Carrier relations after hours with Swift, and then they're like, okay, I got a bunch of trailers at the yard, at the terminal in Phoenix. Okay, cool, good. So I go 5 miles down the road to go to their terminal, and then the guard's giving me a hard time. So I mean, it's his job, right? He wouldn't let me in, he wouldn't let me access. So like 3 hours go by between exchanges and all of these other stuff. Finally he let me in to go look at the trailers, and as soon as I get in, the freaking trailers that they tell me are there's only 3 of them that were there. They gave me 10 different trailers, only 3 of them that were in the yard, and all 3 of them had locks and or seal on them. And then she was like, okay, just look around, see if you can find an empty. I look around their whole yard, and it's got a big yard, right? I look around, every single trailer either hooked to a tractor, had a padlock in it, or had a seal. Every single one of them. So I was like, and I tell that to them. They're like, well, you can drive here. I think there's an empty here. I said, I don't need, I think. I need to know if you have an empty there. Can I just bobtail to pick up this loaded trailer? They're like, well, I can't authorize that. I don't have the proper authority to authorize something like that. You know, so after back and forth, this went on for like 6 hours, almost 6 hours. I said, screw you guys, I'm going to sleep. So I went to sleep, and then all of these people are contacting me. The problem with the Swift, the way third party, like, someone like us, right, who's trying to pull for them, it's just there's so many freaking chiefs and not enough Indians. There's so many people communicating with you from all different angles, and it's like it's the same information over and over and over and over. I was like, screw that, man. So I just waited around for the right person to contact me, the one that I think that has some type of authority, and then I just speak to them. I don't speak to everybody else. Everybody else is just, it's like, I mean, they're just asking for an update, I guess. I don't know. See? That's what. All right, man. Good luck on your FedEx tonight. Hopefully it goes through, not just cancel fee. But then again, hey, sitting around doing nothing, getting cancel fee, I could dig that as well. Yeah. Yeah, boy. Yeah, the JB Hunt, man. The JB Hunt is no longer. It used to be good. believe me, JB Hunt, I pulled quite a few for JB Hunt. As a matter of fact, one time, right, JB Hunt, this was in 2022, not yeah, early 2022, or late 2021 maybe. Yeah, late 2021. Yeah. One of the first videos on the channel, actually. I picked up a power only from Vegas, just an empty trailer to drive it to Salt Lake, and again exchange it for a loaded one, pick up that loaded, take it to Bakersfield, and then from Bakersfield pick up another loaded, take it all the way to Houston, Texas. They paid me $9,500, something like that for that. That's insane, man. And that's just all drop and hook, you know what I mean? But then again, that was the good old times, right? Yeah. As a matter of fact, Parker, the security, that's what he's telling me the same thing, man. Listen, you're not gonna. I have been here long enough to know that you're not gonna find an empty trailer, not at least not in this terminal, or nobody's gonna be able to get you an empty trailer. And he says you're better off just go to bed, go to sleep, and then wait until the regular people get in, and they'll be able to find you a trailer. And sure enough, he was freaking right. As soon as I wake up in the morning, right, I finally got to speak to somebody. He said, "I got you, man." And sure enough, the first trailer number he gives me and first location, the trailer is right there. That's where, Josh, that's where we are right now. Look at it, it's on the dashboard. This thing is amazing, man. If you're gonna be a full-time trucker, go with Starlink, man. But it's gonna be a little pricey. But if you mount it properly, just on the top, you know, somewhere where it's got good clearance of the sky, it's gonna be flawless for you, man. It doesn't even have to be aligned properly, as long as it's got a clear line of sight of the north, you know, of the like right now it's working really good because we're going northbound. If I'm going southbound, it's gonna be a little spotty because it's sitting on the dash. But if it's mounted on the roof, man, and it's got clear sight of 360, you know, I think it's gonna be perfect. I think it's your perfect internet companion. Just its speeds are ridiculous, you know what I mean? 160 megabytes a second download, you know, that's insane, man. And that's right here. If I have it mounted up to where it's clear line of sight, I guarantee you that thing is gonna hit, and out here in the country, it's gonna hit about 240, 250 probably, you know? Because before I had it outside and it was hitting like 280 megabytes a second on download. The upload speed is not very good, you know, but hey, you don't upload that much, you know what I mean? Yes, you got to ping, you know, you got to ping back into the satellite or whatever, but for the most part, it's really good, you know. The latency is really good. Even on a cloudy day, Josh, look at it right, it's cloudy right now. Even on a cloudy day, man, as long as you got a clear line of sight of the sky, you know, and it has a clear line of sight at the north, you know, they're slightly north, right? The towers is always going to be slightly north. No matter where you are, it's always going to be slightly north, you know. So as long as it has a clear line of sight of that, it's going to work perfectly. As a matter of fact, even on the mountains, I was up there in whatchamacallit, on the side of the mountain, right? Like, you know, a highway's going through a mountain, you know, and it has no problems in picking up signals. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's definitely good enough, man. Like I said, this one is a monthly 100. It's a steep one, $160 a month, man. But I mean, come on, right? Come on. I think your money is worth it. You know, I mean, I guess it depends on what your use case for it, right? My for what I want to use it for, I think it's needed, right? I mean, they have other what you call it, remote internet out there, right? Like Verizon and T-Mobile or whatever, right? And they do great, but I could imagine they're gonna be spotty once they hit, that distance from the tower, right? But this one, you know what I mean? It's always looking up in the sky for satellites, right? So you're never gonna have any, you know what I'm saying? An area where it's gonna be spotty between towers. Yeah. Yeah, Josh, I have Verizon now. I used to have T-Mobile. T-Mobile sucked, man, for OTR. Specifically, once you start hitting north, like the northern states, T-Mobile sucks really bad. But Verizon is the one that I've found to be consistent. Specifically, like Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, all of that area, right? Nebraska, you know what I mean? South Dakota, North Dakota. I found T-Mobile or Verizon to be more effective in those areas compared to, say, T-Mobile. But I mean, like right here, really, I don't. Like I could probably, like, if you had, just imagine if you had a Starlink, right? Then you can just mount that permanently, and you can get you like a Google phone number, you know what I mean? And then boom, you don't even need cell service, because that thing does it for you, right? Just get you a Google phone number. Okay, Parker, man. Thank you, man, and good luck tonight, man. Hopefully you get to rolling instead of cancel fee, but I'm sure you don't mind the cancel fee as well. Also, I'm watching the weather app, right? I was watching the weather app earlier, and it looks like there's some bad weather just north of, just on the border of, from the border of Utah, Idaho towards Montana. So yeah, we're gonna see what it looks like over there. Hopefully it's not so bad. But I was checking the temperatures over there, like the overall ambient temperature. It looks like it's high enough that it's not gonna be that bad. So hopefully it doesn't stick to the ground, because we got to keep rolling. We need this thing. We need to drop this thing. Because like I said, like my schedule is so tight, man. Like so once I get this trailer dropped, right, I have to have this trailer back into Tucson by, they said midnight 26, but now that I picked it up a day late, so they should be able to, you know what I mean, accept it on the 27th. Tomorrow my actual broker comes in, so it's during regular hours, so I'll speak to her. But anyway, my schedule is like, as soon as I drop this off, but I need to be in Vegas by the 24th, because before the 24th, because I have a VA appointment early in the morning at 8 o'clock, So it's we'll see. Anyway, yeah, but the load paid good enough to not, you know what I mean, to pay for the deadhead back. You know, so I mean, if I find something great, if not, that's okay too. So and what you would call it, but like I said, it's just it's already paying on the way back. Yeah, it's paying almost $5 a mile uh, going up to Montana. But like I said, the thing is that you got to return the trailer back, right? So that's why I grabbed that Amazon load coming from Vegas, right, to Phoenix, and then hopefully I can grab something real quick and small. You know what I mean? Just to add on to the growth of this whole trip, right? If I can do that, if I can find a load coming from up there, even just partial, that'd be great. But the main thing is I gotta make my timeline back home, and also, oh yeah, if you're driving on the 15, man, and you like to speed, don't do it on the south side of Nephi. I think that's what they call it, right? Nephi, not Nephi. But don't do it on the south side of Nephi on the 15. There's always cops watching this whole section right here. So don't speed through here. They always watching. I think this is the sheriff's department's what you call it, main income. But y'all think y'all like this type of video, man? I think I kind of like it. I think I could sit there, you know what I mean, and just put this in the background and watch it, you know, because you know you're seeing the open road or the countryside, right? You're seeing the whole countryside, and you're just sitting in your living room, right? I think that's amazing. Without no, I mean, it's not the best, right? But it's what you call it, this is how you would see it, right? It's not fabricated in no way, no shape or form, right? Content wise. There he is. Look at the highway patrol. everybody driving slow now. I'm always on the highway. I'm always driving 65. I'm always rolling 65 unless I gotta get somewhere. Then I would there. Oh, I think he found him. I think he's gonna get him right there. He definitely saw his plate. You know, these cops are fast, man. Here we go. Hey, the hardest part of me, what I don't like is when the cops starts to going around everybody, it becomes a hazard, really, because everybody's like they're scared. It's like, really, and if you're not doing anything illegal, like, you know, driving faster or whatever over the speed limit, why are you? Everybody gets congested, and it becomes more dangerous than what it is. Dusty, hey, you know what, man? I think I wouldn't mind listening to that, right? I wouldn't mind listening to freaking, you know, engine singing going down the road. As a matter of fact, I would probably, you know, the longer I stay in trucking, I think the more I would, you know, transition into something like that, right? To having an actual truck that actually, you know, I want that engine to sing to me, you know. I think if you can, I think what you might call it, a glider truck would work better, right? Because like your newer truck, they'll be better sealed, right? So the sound from the outside is easier, or what you might call it is it's easier to dissipate, right, on a newer truck. But in order for you to hear that engine, right, you gotta have some type of microphone from the outside, letting the audience hear it, right? I think that'd be something, you know what I mean? I think that's a good idea. I think you can make something like that happen, right? Because like when I drive, I don't even listen to music really. I drive like this. I love this type of serenity right here. I just ambient noise. You know what I mean? I think it's mainly because I have a, you know, I have a constant ringing in my ear that, you know, I really just like ambient noise compared to, you know, anything else. It's just I have a really bad, just constant ringing on here. This is one of the reasons why I have a VA appointment on the 24th. But it's just ringing all the time, man. When it's quiet, I cannot. I have headaches when it's quiet. I get what you might call it, and I get mad more when it's quiet. So I need some type of ambient noise, because that ringing is just constantly there. There you go. I love that M14, man. I love the sound of that M14, really. It's almost it's late in December, and it's still almost 60 degrees over here in the southern part of Salt Lake. That's crazy. And it's already like 5 o'clock or something like that. Yeah, 4:30. It should be like in the mid 40s right now. Yeah, that's the thing about the older trucks, Dusty. It's like I think you're gonna have to reseal them. You know, you're gonna have to door. Like, well, the newer trucks, right? They usually put 2 to 3 seals on there, right? And the older trucks, you know, they usually only have 1 seal going around. This truck right here has 2 seals. You know, it's got one on the outside, on the inner part, right? And then it's got another one that goes up the top, and then all the way in the bottom on the inside part of the door, you know, or outside part of the door, I should say. I mean, just look at this view, man. If you're watching this on your living room, I mean, come on, right? You ain't gotta leave your house to get a view like this. Let me get you that view, right? Or another trucker, doesn't matter. that Starlink Mini, man, it's that Starlink Mini is amazing. It's just it doesn't miss a beat when it has a clear line of sight of the north. It doesn't miss a beat. And we're in motion. We're going 65 miles an hour. We're in Utah, just on the 15. This is the I-15. We're going north, and we're going to be heading to Montana to drop off this night trailer in north of Missoula. You know, there's like a little lake right there on the US 93. You know, I think it's like 50, maybe 30 miles from the 90 of Missoula. So. Yeah, that's the. I used to. When I was driving for David, right? He had this T600. That thing was not sealed properly. The doors, they had such a bad seals on them, or maybe engineering. I don't know. But anyway, that thing was like the winter air that would come in when you're in like the Wisconsin area or Michigan, northern Michigan area. It gets so cold, man. Should be popping into just the southern part of Salt Lake here. Like I said, hopefully that weather up north on the border of Idaho and Montana. There's a pretty big storm coming through there. It's pretty nasty weather. But like I said, it looks like the region has the temperature is high enough that I don't got to worry about, you know, the white stuff to stick on the road surface. I think it shouldn't be sticking on the road surface. We should be okay. Raiders. Isn't the Raiders thinking season is over? Wasn't it over a month ago, their season? I don't know. I'm not making fun of them. I don't usually follow the Raiders. You know, I don't follow just a certain team. I follow NFL for betting purposes. You know, sports betting purposes. That's what I love the NFL for. Yeah. So they probably playing their second and third string, or maybe they're actually paying the actual regular players, you know, just in case they got to make some cuts next year. Yes, it is my home team. But you know, hey, they just got in there. You know, they haven't earned the rights yet. You know, as a matter of fact, I've been a Bronco fan forever. You know, since I was stationed over there. You know, that's one of the teams that I claim to, you know, what you call it, to favor over everybody else, I should say. I love the Broncos. I love the colors. I love their colors, and I love that, you know, it's a horse. You know, I love me a Mustang. As a matter of fact, Mustang. You know, Shelby, right? That's one of my favorite cars, man, because of Gone in 60 Seconds, right? That Eleanor, yeah, Eleanor. There you go. I love that silver car, man. That thing is insane. Like, it looks so clean. The lines are just perfect. If you were to ask me and be like, "Hey, would you take a Lamborghini over a Mustang, Eleanor?" You know, specifically the one from there, I would tell you any time of the day it would be the Gone in 60 Seconds car. You know that M14, man. I love hearing the cold start on that M14. Boy, I tell you. So I used to work for Cummins, right? Cummins Southern Plains. I worked there for like a year and a half. I was in the beginning stages. I was in the base, right? And they kept putting me on the doggone RVs, and I hated that because it's like I was a lot skinnier back then, and I can get to tighter spaces, right? So they're always gonna favor me to work on the RVs compared to, you know, anybody who's a little bit bigger, right? So anyway, and eventually they put me in. The guy that hired me over there, he was actually a retired chief, right? Army chief, and he was a cool guy. But anyway. So he's like, he saw me work for a few months. He's like, you know, I kind of like this guy, you know. So he put me on this task to where all we do is rebuild engines, right? The 855s and 1640 block or something like that. No, 1740, I think that block. Anyway, they were mine equipment engines, right? So we were rebuilding those for a long time, you know what I mean? And I love the cold start on that engine, man. I mean, it's different, right? It's a 855 block, right? But yeah, it's just the sound. I love the sound. It's just so pure and so just crisp, you know. It's like a 3D sound, right? The I-40. I hate the I-40 in Arizona, specifically over there in the Kingman area. I don't know what they're doing in that county, man. It's just so bad over there. Like, that whole area is just so bad, from from like, you know, the US 93, right? From the US 93 exit. As a matter of fact, even further than that, but from the US 93 exit all the way towards the California line, right? So bad. That whole I-40 part is so bad. It seems like it just, you know what I mean? It centers around that area. Maybe it's that whole county. I don't know what county is Kingman is in. You know, they're maybe he's the contractor. I don't know. Them roads are so bad. And then you get over here, right? Like look how smooth this road is. I've been riding up and down this doggone 15 for many years, and it's been like this the whole time. You know what I mean? Utah, like Utah 15 is one of the best rides you could ever have. You have the view, and then the road is so smooth, man. And I don't think it has anything to do with setting way stations, you know, along the way. I don't think it's, you know, I'm sure there's trucks that are riding within that Kingman area, right, that are, you know, not completely legal, but I don't think it has anything to do with that, because this is a prime example right here, this road, the 15, right? It's from the way station that you're gonna run into is way on the south, right? About 300 miles from here, you know, and there's no other way stations within the area except for on the 6, right? Was that the 6? Yeah, the US 6, and usually, I mean, just how many miles of nothing but with no way station, you know? And I'm sure there's people riding dirty down this road, you know, I mean, weight-wise, right? So, but, you know, the highway's still the same. It's been like this for many years, you know? So I think it's a, you know, construction problem, right? Whoever was, you know, whatever they were using, you know, maybe it's lower quality. All right, I appreciate you, Jamie. Yes, sir. We're gonna see how safe we're gonna be up there once we get past once we get to the whatchamacallit, Idaho Montana border, I should say, within that area. Okay, go ahead. Ask away, the levy. Oh yeah, by the way, I have decided that I am gonna continue on with the authority. I was able to find a rate, or my agent was able to find a rate that is what I'm paying now. So I decided to continue. We're gonna see, right? What type of equipment are you using, Levi? That depends too. So if you're power only, in doing van, I would say the DAT load board, the mid-tier service. Okay, if you're power only and and you're gonna be doing van. If you're gonna be doing open deck, constantly, I would say truck stop and the higher tier. Because you get priority to see the loads, right? With truck stop, they give you this priority to see the load prior, like 5 minutes or something like that, to get to see the load before the lower tier. So I would suggest that on open deck. Dusty, yes, you do have to have chains. I do have my chains with me. Yes, you gotta have chains. They're not like Colorado where they check you, right? They if you were to get a DOT inspected, they will definitely ask for it. Depending on the DOT, right? But yes, you're supposed to carry them with you right now in Montana, Oregon as well, I believe. Yeah, okay. If that's the case, Levi, I would say don't waste your money on truck stop. I don't know why it's that way, but it's just weird in that manner that more open deck on the truck stop and less, dry van and power only. But vice versa with DAT, that truck stop is better in terms of open deck. I would say that DAT has more, it's more risky because of the fact that I think the DAT load board, I called them already and they could care less, okay? There's more scams that happens on the DAT than truck stop itself. Truck stop, I feel like they do a better job in filtering those kind of loads that are being posted or whatever, right? But DAT, I like I said, I spoke to them already and they could care less. What they think, they could care less. So you just got to be a little bit more vigilant with DAT. I guess we could put it that way, Yeah. Actually, Levi, I would say don't go into dry van yet. To me, it seems the way it seems right now is it has. Oh, look! I also get that ABS light on the trailer. It's the cable. I got this cable from Amazon, and it's I think the ohms. It doesn't have the right ohms going through. That when you press the brake, it activates the doggone ABS light for the trailer for some reason. So yeah. But yeah, it's my cable. It's the cable. because my previous cable that I tore up, it wasn't doing that. So I just got to get a different cable, a different I don't know what the heck call it. And do okay. So yeah, power only. Don't stay with power only. Yeah, you can do loadout trailers, right? You can do people with Swift or whatever, right? Amazon, right? Oh well, your New Authority. So, but power only is still okay, man. What you gonna call it? Usually you'll have. I think the loadout trailers are okay, man. There a lot of these guys, you know, they'll allow you to rent out that or use these trailers even as Newer Authority. You know, a lot of the guys that are posting on the for loadout. So I'd say maybe explore that, you know, and until you get your authority age, you know. So I'd say try that out first. I'd say give that a shot. Like don't give up, even though it's gonna get hard. I'm not gonna lie to you, especially when you're gonna be doing something like that. It's gonna get very difficult. So, but I think that in comparison to getting a dry van right away to where it's gonna commit you to that dry van, right? At least as a power only, you have options. And as a power only, I think you should, if you're gonna do power only, you need to get you a hitch on your truck, okay? A 30K hitch, I would say. So you can pull these trailers. You know those trailers that are equipment, the heavy equipment or the construction people use? You need is a hitch. You know, it was being pulled by a hitch. And usually that thing is like 25,000 pounds. So a 30K hitch you need. There's people, just Google it, right? 30K hitch on a semi, and they'll pop up. I think they charge about $3,000 or $4,000 to install one on your truck. Okay, I think that's a way to go when it comes to power only, is to have a hitch, right? To be able to pull goosenecks, right? They can put that on there for you too, to be able to put a gooseneck, and then to be able to wire your semi up with a 7-way pin, right? For all of these, and for the brakes, right? For electric brakes and things like that. So I mean, I know it's a lot of work, but I think if you are able to collectively pull anything that is power only, you're way above the rest of your regular power only, right? So and obviously your chains and binders, right? You gotta make sure you bring chains and binders so you can, you know, get those power only load that are stack of chassis, right? You can secure them or whatever. And if you've never seen a video, I have a couple of videos on the channel showing how to secure those. You know, I would suggest chains. You know, use chains only. At the time, I had straps, so you can use chains. You have to have X chains on them. That's very important. It's very dangerous not to have X chains on them. X chains in the front, X chains in the back. So minimum 4 chains, 4 binders, right? And don't use snap binders. Use ratchet binders. The snap binders, you know, they tend to, because the suspension on those chassis, right, is a spring suspension, so it'll have a lot of flex on them. So if you can just, you know, put a lot of tension in it, you know, constant tension in it, and just inch it at a time with a ratchet binder, compared to a snap binder where it's only that one force. You snap it, and then when you're bouncing down the road, it could snap right back on you because it's a spring suspension, you know. So But yeah, I would say if you're gonna do power only, you have to be able to open your truck up for all of that. You know, be able to pull gooseneck, you be able to pull, you know, bumper pull, all of this, man. It's so important, you know. And you can wire. You can run. I mean, you can have all of these done. You know, as a matter of fact, you can go to the trailer shop and have somebody do that. You know what I mean? Run some harnesses for you to where, you know, you can hook up to a fifth wheel or whatever, or I mean to a gooseneck and whatnot, whatever, you know, whatever things they have going on in there, you know, or type of connections, I should say. Don't listen, Rusty. I don't blame you, man. Yeah. You know, for me, if it's just a regular flatbed, and if you're OTR, I think it's not worth it on the open deck. Flatbed, regular flatbed, okay? Because you don't find those unicorn, right? I think if you're a step deck, you have a lot more chances in finding unicorn. What I mean, like unicorn rates, right? Rates that are gonna be insane that, you know, it's gonna make it worth it, right? And in flatbed, that's a lot less likely if you're OTR, right? But flatbed as a regional, I think that's a much better option than having a step deck, in my opinion, because you should, like, if you're gonna be regional flatbed, you should know your area, right? And areas like, you know, Chicago, Detroit, you know, all of that area, right, where there's a lot of steel, right? You'll be constantly hauling steel, right, or even lumber, you know, lumber area, right? So flatbed is best for that, right, regional wise. So, but if you're gonna be OTR, I think on the open deck, for it to be worth it, it has to be a minimum 53-foot step deck. See, look at this. Look at these mountains. These mountains along, you know, the side of the Salt Lake areas, right? It's just these mountains run along on the right side when you're going north, you know. But it's just so beautiful out here. The Salt Lake area is so beautiful, man. It's so expensive over here, though. The area has gotten so bad, you know, like there's a lot of people moving here, and real estate is just not, it can't handle the capacity, or the demand, I should say. It doesn't have the capacity for the demand. 120 something dollars an hour. That's an authority. It's not bad, man. I guess it depends on how what you call it, how consistent that is, right? I actually like that. You know, I think as an owner operator, you need to be at $100 an hour minimum. You know, I mean, it's as a power only, it's okay to go $80 an hour, right? But $100 an hour minimum if you're providing everything in that, you know. If you're gonna be in that, you know, in that perspective of things. But like I see people doing like $60 an hour on Amazon. Like, you know, those yard dogs, $60 an hour. I don't know. Like, nurses make on average $40 an hour, you know, and they got all kinds of benefits. So $60 an hour as an owner operator, it's wild to me. You know, I can't. Look at this guy. Did you guys see that? So he was a box truck pulling another box truck with a car inside the box truck that's pulling the box truck. Now this is comedy right here. I'm pretty sure I don't know, man. I don't know what the weight is. I guess it's still okay, right? But he's pulling something with it, so I don't think that guy's legal. Did you guys see that? Oh. I think those are like what, 10K, maybe 12K box trucks, right? He had an Explorer, a Ford Explorer inside that little box truck. And pulling another box truck behind it. Yeah, dusty trails, yeah, definitely look like something you would see out of a freaking commercial, right? If you're local, that's definitely legal. You know, you're probably not driving 14 hours, right? Or 10 hours or 11 hours. You're on duty, right? That's DOT legal. 14 hours on duty and or driving, you know, with the 11-hour cab driving. So yeah, that's legal. You can legally be on duty for 14 hours and legally drive for 11 hours before that 10-hour break. So if your brother is into that, I would definitely look into that, man. That's good. That's a good hourly rate. That's not bad. Depending on what they make you do, you know, or the kind of things that they require of you, I guess, you know. But just from face value, I think that's pretty good. There goes Old Glory. He was kind of stuck on the side of the pole though. Yeah, this drive right here, one of my favorites, man. The 15 in the Salt Lake area. I mean, we're still like 40 miles away from Salt Lake, so. But yeah, this is these mountains, like specifically in the mornings, man. These mountains are beautiful, man. When that first light, when the first light starts hitting those mountains, it's so beautiful. Even when it's sundown, you know. When you're driving your semi through here, man, look at that. You see that highway patrol right there on the side? Just take it easy. Usually the way I drive, I leave one lane on that side, right? And just stay on this lane, right? Second to the right. And just, you know, just keep my distance, right? Specifically here in Salt Lake, you know, it's the driving in Salt Lake has become more like driving in Vegas or California nowadays. It's you either have somebody going really slow, just like that guy right there, and then just flew right by on the shoulder, just because he didn't want to wait for these people, you know, to pick up speed or whatever, right? So. But yeah, like normally I don't care less. I care less what anybody thinks of the way I'm driving, especially when I'm out here. As long as I keep my distance, stay on this lane, second to the right, you know what I mean, and just, you know, keep my speed right, and watch my mirror, obviously. But it'll be all right. They got so many lanes to choose from. The antenna on the radio on this thing sucks, and so I normally don't turn it on, you know, and I have it connected. I need to change it. I changed the speakers on this thing. The speakers actually sounds good. I didn't go with the factory ones, right? So I got some measurements on this thing, and you know, like when I first got it, right, I made some measurements on it. Or got some measurements of the speakers and the way it's mounted, and then found some universal mounts, you know, and I was able to fit them on there, you know what I mean? And they're aftermarket speakers, and they sound really good, you know. JBL, I think they are. Rockford Fortsky, yeah. Rockford Fortsgate, there you go. Rockford force gate, right? But yeah, they sound real good. I just need to change the head unit, you know, to something that has better amperage in it, or a better amperage power outage, you know, and those things will sound really good. See, it does get cut off as soon as I go through a little bit of overhead, you know. But overall, that Starlink is not bad. Because it's cloudy right now. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. Look at that. Look at the cloud formation on that mountain. It's so beautiful. I'm not gonna be able to glance at that chat right now. Focus more on the drive, you know. Too much things going on in this city right now. That's how I normally do it, you know. Is some people, you know, it's like I can multitask, right? But it's better to focus the task at hand, you know. Better to be on the, especially out here in this in a much more crowded area, you know. Normally I'm always watching my mirrors, making sure, you know, I know what my what 360 degrees look like on this truck, you know. This is actually a really good, very educational video, even for, you know, newer ones, or even for the ones that are aspiring to be a truck driver. I mean, come on, this is live training right here, right? I think if I can add a couple more camera angles, we're gonna be all right. Wow, it's actually a little bit on the lower 60s out here. It's insane. And this is the Salt Lake area. We're approaching Salt Lake right now. I think we're probably about 30 miles away from Salt Lake. I think the Salt Lake area is like exit 420-ish, 4 something, or I mean 3 something, not 4 something. The heck. It's 400 something miles from Las Vegas, but exit slightly above 320-ish or so. Yeah, man. I normally like I I like drive. That's why I like driving in the Midwest. You know, I don't like driving in such a hectic area like, you know, Atlanta. Atlanta, man. My goodness, Atlanta. Wow, Atlanta area at least. As a matter of fact, anywhere, pretty much anywhere in Georgia, man. California, right? Southern California, anywhere in that area, you know. Sacramento area, you know, Northern California, you know, San Francisco area, anywhere in that area. Such a busy, you know, it's like hectic drive, you know. You're always on alert, you know, and it's really stressful drive. So Chicago. Chicago is also one of those, you know, just a whole region, you know, like, and it's not like just the Chicago area, right? It'll be like doggone freaking a whole lot of, like a whole state size, right? You know, anywhere from halfway Michigan all the way into, you know, the freaking Wisconsin side of that whole Chicago, Illinois area, you know. That whole area right there is just so busy, right? All the time, constantly. Same thing for the Northeast, right? Oh man, don't even get me started on the Northeast. I hate going to the Northeast, man, especially on that, even their tolls, you know, it's just so busy, man. When I have to go to, like, let's say Connecticut or something like that, I usually take the, what is that, the 80, so you have the 80 going straight in, right, to New Jersey, southern part of New York and things like that. But what is that, 87? No, it can't be an 87, so maybe 84 or 86 that runs along the side of, you know, it picks up in Pennsylvania, right, runs along the side of 80. Actually, the traffic is not bad right now for the Salt Lake area. I mean, obviously it's a Sunday evening, right? It's, a lot of times, actually, believe it or not, Salt Lake, Utah, is one of those places where pretty much a good percentage of your businesses are shut down on Sundays, you know, because, you know, Mormon, right? It's a Mormon country, right? And they're usually off on doggone whatever, right? Sundays. this stream is not so bad actually. I didn't expect it to go this well. I mean, the very first time, right? the first 30 minutes was kind of like it was my fault. The camera was it was a little funky, right? the steering wheel was showing on that side from your screen, right? But overall, this stream is not that bad, man. I'm so amazed how that Starlink, man, it's actually turned out a lot better than what I am envisioning it to be. Okay, I think I'm gonna go take I'm gonna go to whatchamacallit, to that truck stop over here in the Salt Lake area and go get coffee. And then we're probably gonna go ahead and end the stream there. Hopefully that weather up in whatchamacallit is not so bad. But overall, it's a successful test on drive along with me, right? You're riding along live, getting live training on trucking, right? Now, if we can add a few more camera angles on this, I think we have something, right? To where I can switch the angles of the view, you know, so you can you have a good perspective on how, you know, things look, you know what I mean? So you'd be getting live training, right? Truck driving live training. You don't got to be riding along with no doggone trainer. You already got your trainer right here. You you don't got to sleep with nobody, or you don't got to sleep alongside somebody you don't know. You don't know? Yeah, I think, what is that? I keep forgetting the name of those truck stops or whatever, the name of that truck stop. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go there because they have Beans and Brews. That's the only place, or I love that, what they call a Mr. B on their menu. I love that. And they have a Beans and Brew inside that truck stop. I can't remember the name of it. It's a pretty big truck stop in the Salt Lake area. As a matter of fact, they do a really good job in oil changes over there. So if you need to get your oil change, you know, it's right there. Those guys do a pretty decent job, and it's priced well, you know. It's on California Avenue. What's the name of that truck stop? I forgot the name of it. See right here, like whenever I'm loaded, the thing about this automatic transmission, right? Whenever I'm loaded, and I'm going down the hill, see, and I always use my engine brake, right? Look at this. Looks like we got something. When you see brake lights up ahead, you know, that's why you always have to look ahead, right? And just start slowing her down, you know what I mean? You don't. But yeah, whenever I'm loaded, the doggone transmission just keeps wanting to shift, you know? So the main thing a lot of new drivers, they're just missing out, is that distance, you know, that following distance, man. Always keep that following distance, you know? Now I gotta put it back onto auto, so it'll downshift, you know, the way I want it. See, right there, it's too high. This thing is too high. It grabs, for me, it grabs the wrong gear. You know, it's too high. Like when you have your engine brake on, it grabs, or it downshifts a couple of gears down, you know. And I don't like that. I don't like that, you know, you're revving up your RPMs that high. You don't need to, you know. See, right now I'm at about 1,300 RPMs and going 40 miles an hour, and it's gonna downshift probably quite a few here in a second. There it is. It went down 2 gears when it could have actually went down 1, you know. Maybe it's in the programming. I got a freaking reefer truck that's like right on my tail. I don't know why these truck drivers, I don't know where they learn their driving training from. It's like they follow too close, man. Way too close, you know. And if the weather is anything, you know, other than freaking ideal, you're more than likely gonna get in some type of accident, you know. Overall, I prefer the automatic overall, because I think it makes your life a lot easier, right? And plus, you know, I think that transmission will last a lot longer, in my opinion. If I was to get this truck from the fact that you're not grinding gears, right? Like if you're driving manual, I don't care how good you are, you're gonna grind the gear, right? Every now and then. So this automatic will never allow the gears to be grind because because of the sensors, right? It just meets a certain criteria and then it'll grab that gear, right? Whatever. But I think the transmission will last longer. Yes, you're going to be changing the clutch more often. Maybe, I don't know. But for me so far, man, this transmission has been amazing. You know what I mean? Like I said, just take your time. She's not a sports car. You know what I'm saying? And take your time and just let her pick up speed. See, smooth, right? Going from gear to gear is so smooth. Raising it up, and then she's gonna grab gear, and she's so smooth. There it is. Grab the gear. Just let her pick up the speed. Momentum. Let the momentum assist her in grabbing gears. I think I'm gonna take the bypass and go to that truck stop. There's gonna be a couple of scale houses we're gonna go through here from the northbound, and I wanna do a walk around and look, make sure everything is good. See, and also truck driving tip, right? Just turn on your intention, right? When you're changing lane, put your intention on, and then look in the mirror, and then when it's safe to go, you go. As a matter of fact, that's actually in your driver training right there. I think what is it, 400 feet before that turn, you gotta have your blinker on. 400 feet before the turn, something like that. And yes, I know that like when in a busier city, right, with shorter, merge times and things like that, that all goes out the window, But if you practice it enough, as far as like looking at the mirror, looking forward, that's why that peripherals are so important, But like I said, if you practice it enough, your brain will be able to, calculate things and be able to get into the lane that you want to safely. Doesn't matter how fast people are going, how much traffic it is, 215, yeah, that's the bypass, 215. So we're gonna go ahead and take the 215 and go north and then go to that truck stop. I got something shaking back there. I hate that. I hate that kind of sound. That's why, like, the Volvos, when the Volvos get old, man, there's a lot of creaking noise inside, when you put in some miles on a Volvo, so much doggone noise inside that cab, and I take it at 215, if I'm going east or the west 215, I'm always all the way on the left lane, because this lane will take you right into that, because this area will split into two, and that one become east, 215 east, this one's 215 west. See, this is the kind of thing I like to do, you know, being able to, you know, I see it all the time on the road. These newer drivers, you know, they just not properly trained, you know. They're essentially just set up for failure, you know. They don't got the proper training, you know. I was fortunate enough to go to Roadmaster truck driving school out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they were really good over there. They were very firm, and they were accurate, you know, and they taught you a lot of stuff, you know. I was in that school for what, a month and a half or so, or a month and 5 weeks, I believe. So it's like some of the things they teach you, right? Like, you know, like when you're going around a curve, right? That posted speed limit on the curve, you know, make sure you pay attention to that, right? And make sure you're going way lower than that, right? So I think they said 5 miles an hour below, right? So like right here, we're gonna be going into this soon, and this curve gets very, very dangerous, specifically when when it's nighttime or when the weather is not ideal, you know. That's why, like, you see a lot of in Minnesota, you know, because like it gets so icy over there. In the winter time, you know, there's so much accident within the Minneapolis area, because people just don't know how to slow down before that curve, you know. And that's the key, is to slow down before you hit the curve. Don't slow down in the curve. Slow down before you hit the curve. And as a matter of fact, you want to be able to hit the gas once you're in that curve, just in case you got to correct or something, you know what I mean? That's essentially where you want to be, right? And basically, you're just trying to control that weight as much as possible, right? See, look at that guy. It's like, really? So, see, look at this. It's 40 miles an hour, right? We're going 50 right now. I wanna hit this curve below 40 before I even get to that curve, you know? I actually took a little too fast, but essentially that's the idea, right? Is that, you know, see, it gets so much sharper right here. Turn on your blinker. People see your blinker. And boom. I mean, it's kind of ideal right now, the driving part of it, because it's Sunday, right? A lot less people aggressive on the road because they don't got to be at work, you know. My blinker, my intent, and then move over when it's safe. I say this is kind of like trucking simulator, right? All of those guys with a fancy setup in their living room and driving trucks, you know. This is real life. This is not a simulator, you know. This is the real deal. There's no restart button on this, right? You can't just be like, okay, I'm gonna start it over. Yeah, so another thing, like with the turning part, right? Like I see a lot of these new guys, man, they're just whipping these freaking semis like they're freaking cars, man. It's like they don't think about the weight, you know. There's so much weight on these things, you know, and such a high center of gravity that you can see when somebody just don't know how to drive or wasn't trained properly, right? You know. And it's just like you can see him just whipping that doggone thing around like it's a regular car, you know. And next thing you know, they just got to do that. They just got to make that one mistake one time, you know. And like I said, there's just no restart button, right? See, here's another one right here. So like, you see them, they're trying to merge over, right? Give them distance to merge, you know what I mean? Or move over to the other lane, you know? I don't want to move over to the other lane because I got to exit here pretty soon, you know? So just slow it down, give them some room up front, and they let them merge in. That's why I like looking ahead. Looking ahead is so important in terms of trucking. You know, you gotta look. You gotta look ahead. You know, not only look a few feet in front of you. You always have to look way ahead. You know, because then you'll be able to make a decision on what you want to do based on what you see in front of you. You know, or what's ahead of you. Some work over here. There it is, Sap Bros. Sap Bros. That's the truck stop I'm talking about. See that big old boulder? Oh, there we go. We got one right here. Now that we're facing north, we're actually going to be losing signal here. Or now that we're facing south, I should say, we're actually going to be losing signal. Anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and end this stream here. I might start it back over later, but I'm going to go check out the truck. You know, like I said, there's going to be a couple of way stations we got to go through just in case, you know, just in case something happened along the way, you know, while we were driving. So we'll check out the truck and make sure she's good to go. And then I'm going to get me a coffee. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I might start the stream back up later on. But other than that, you know, that's truck driving in a nutshell, right? I mean, it's just, see, a lot of people, like I said, I see a lot of people that are just so aggressive, being way too aggressive, just don't know how to slow down, you know, really. I like the way this turned out, the way the stream turned out, the way it's continuous, you know what I mean, the quality wise. So, and I think it's a really good starting point training wise, right? That freaking guy is just looking at me. he just mean mugged the crap out of me. So, but anyway, we're gonna go ahead and end it here.